Say, kids, what time is it?
It's kind of like watching TV, but, in your car.
104.7 The Cave, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens in the studio today. Dark Side of the Stream, episode 140. Jay's pick this week was the documentary film about the life of a rapper, singer, country music artist, whatever you want to call the guy. His name's Jelly Roll. He's from Nashville. And it's called Save Me on Hulu. Why in the hell did you pick this documentary, Jay?
Well, because I've just recently found out about this Mr. Jelly Roll. Can I say, first of all, that I just realized that these videos actually get viewed by people. And I told myself after seeing that last one you showed me, I said, God, I look horrible. I need to start coming in with sunglasses and a hat. I failed to do that today. I will start next week. So I apologize for my ghoul-like appearance.
Jay's on one this morning.
Oh, I'm extremely hungover.
Jay, this is a version of Jay Stevens that not many people get to see outside of the studio.
God, this light is bright.
When people are like, "What's it like to work with Jay?" I'm like, "Oh, he's the best."
Yeah,
I love the guy. He's like,
today.
I love this dude. He's the best in the world.
Not today.
But he's not always and chicks and high pitched notes and stuff. Sometimes he's pretty chill guy. Today, he's letting the world see the laid back Jay Stevens.
Today I am not good.
That's why you don't mix. Do not mix liquor and champagne. That is a
bad move.
Death concoction. All right. So anyway, back to the documentary. It's called Save Me. It's about a guy going by the name Jelly Roll. His name is actually Jason DeFord, and he's from the Antioch neighborhood in Nashville, Tennessee. If you've ever been to Nashville, you know exactly where I'm talking about. It is definitely not the nicest part of town. But this documentary tells of his life, which started kind of messed up by the age of 14 years old. He got locked up and would spend the next 10 years of his life between the ages of 14 to 25 in prison. Now, let's just stop right there. 14 years old. I'm not saying that I was a good boy. I'm not saying I was into good stuff at that age, but the idea that you would lose that period of your life in prison.
Hard to turn that ship around if that happens.
Most of the time, you're absolutely right. That is exactly where I was going.
That's why his story is pretty amazing.
That's such a crucial part of your life where you're laying the foundation of where you're going, the person you're going to be, the type of people you're around, all that stuff. And being in prison, especially at that point of your life, statistically speaking, that won't be the only time you go to prison.
Yeah. And he had so much stacked against him. And then you just pile on top of that, the tattoos all over his face and stuff like that. You're coming out into the world. First impression,
you look at this guy and you're like,
yeah,
did he just leave an Insane Clown Posse gathering? Because literally, when I first saw the picture of the dude, I was like, yeah, this is the guy that everyone's talking about in country music. This is the dude.
It's amazing. It's incredible.
But then he starts to sing, and you're like, oh my God, the guy can actually sing.
And it's more of like the feeling that you can hear the emotion in his voice. I think is what it is. I don't know, but I mean, props to this dude for turning his life around. It's an incredible story.
Well, it is, and we'll continue to talk about it next with Mr. Champagne Drain next on Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. 104.7 The Cave, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens in the studio. It is Dark Side of the Stream, episode 140. This is Jay's pick this week. It's the documentary called Save Me on Hulu about the country music artist Jelly Roll. At least that's what we're calling him now because he just won a bunch of awards, including Breakthrough Male Artist of the Year. And like I said, back to how we left the conversation before the break, you look at this guy and you'd be like, wait a minute. He's on the same. He actually played the Grand Ole Opry. And yes, he did.
Yeah. And he even talked about in an interview I saw that he's like, when they were there at the red carpet, at the CMAs, getting all these awards, that him and his girlfriend or wife or whatever she is, he's like, this is the biggest, what are we doing here? This is the biggest prank we've ever pulled. This is the biggest scam we've ever pulled. He's like, you were a prostitute, I was a drug dealer in jail, and here we are, doing this.
Top of the world. Yeah, his wife is something.
She's got that Jay Stevens look. She's got that Jay Stevens look.
I'm sure she'd definitely be on the party bus with old Jay.
Yeah, she's got that look.
Well, with a name like Bunny, I'm not surprised. But anyway, it's incredible that he would go from being in prison at the age of 14 to getting released at 25. After he gets out, he puts out some rap
He was
albums.
a rapper, right?
First,
Didn't he start with the rap?
Yeah, he teamed up with a rapper out of Memphis. Got some love there.
Selling CDs out of the back of a car.
Yeah, kind of doing that thing, did mixtapes, and then eventually kind of started to get a little bit more into the country side of things about 10 years ago when
And
he
rock, right?
yeah,
Isn't he a
started
rock
to
guy
kind of
too?
blend stuff with the mixtape called Whiskey, Weed, and Women, which originally I thought this was funny. They were going to call it Whiskey, Weed, and Waffle House, but then whenever he put the cover out, which had their logo on it, they sent him a cease and desist, which I'm not surprised.
That's so good.
But I mean, come on, like that's your demo, Waffle House. What are you trying to sell to? Anyway, so yeah, then he would get into country music, and then you just see what's happening with like his most recent album. Like it just people are eating this stuff up, and it's so crazy. I don't know what that says about country music. I don't know what that says about pop music, but what you said in the beginning about how you can hear the emotion. This isn't my stuff. I mean, I can hear it and I can say, yeah, I can see why people like this. But what I was going to say was months ago, I was talking to someone, and this was kind of around the time where he was starting to gain traction. It was last year sometime. And this lady brought him up and said, have you ever listened to this guy? And I was like, no, I've heard of him, but I didn't actually listen to him. And the way she talked about him was, like you mentioned, like it's almost as if people find inspiration through him and his music.
It's like they can feel it, they connect.
And this chick did not strike me as someone that would be listening to country music. She did strike me as someone that would be at an Insane Clown Posse gathering. You know what I mean? So whatever he's doing,
he's doing something.
He's doing something right.
Different. He's like, he hit the frequency that connects with a lot of people.
It's insane. And we'll talk more about Jelly Roll next. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens in the studio, Dark Side of the Stream, episode 140, discussing Save Me on Hulu.
Now, you talk about him inspiring people. I would just like to clarify for the record that I'm extremely hungover, and yet I'm still here doing my job at work today. So let this be inspiration to you kids. If you're a big enough boy to go out and drink on a school night, you're a big enough boy to come to work and still do your job.
This is exactly how Jay and I both got our jobs here, is because we were willing to show up.
Yeah.
And we continue to show up. So
sometimes if they don't want us here,
regardless of the situation, we're here, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Well, I don't know about bright-eyed.
Speaking of which, yeah,
we're barely here.
Jelly Roll's wife, Bunny, she has a podcast, and I've kind of watched some of those reels sometimes, and it's like, it's just not my scene, man. I love classic country. I was raised on it. George Strait, Garth, Clint Black, Vince Gill, stuff like that, and then the old guys, Merle, Waylon, Willie, Cash. I love that stuff, even further back than that. But I'm not saying what country music is now is invalid, because it is. And obviously, if people want that, if they're going to take something like this artist, right, who you look at him and you're like, how in the hell is this guy on the Grand Ole Opry stage? Then he sings, you're like, okay, I get it. Makes perfect sense now. But if that's what the public wants, that's what they're going to continue to get. And what blows my mind is, like, now you look at the crowd, and it's almost as if like country music, at least the pop country music, has almost taken over what rock used to be.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like
100%.
think about like the 90s.
100%.
Everyone was into that stuff, regardless of their demo. Everyone kind of listened to some form of rock. But now it's more country, right?
Yeah, it's 100%.
100%. It's crazy.
Those are the songs. They're basically just like 80s rock songs.
Yeah.
They're just a different vibe. But they're the lyrical, the structure.
The formula's there. You just
formula.
Switch a couple things.
Maybe
put a fiddle in where the synth should go.
Put a
little
Bass
twang.
Pro hat on
Put a twang on there and done.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Like, popular music always cracks me up, and it is what's popular, and that's just the way it is. But you look at this for what it is, and you're like, God, just the evolution of where they went to where they are now.
And it's also the image thing. Like, usually in the music business, image is a big deal. It's like, all right, you don't have the right look, you're not getting to. These guys do not have the right look. Jelly Roll, Luke Combs, these guys look like you'd be, they'd be working at a gas
They're the most
station or
popular
something,
dudes.
tow truck
They're some of
company,
the
and
most
they're
popular
biggest
dudes
stars in the world
right now, selling out like crazy. Luke Combs just played Arrowhead. My dad went. I mean, and I think he just went to see Lainey Wilson's butt. But either way, I would have done the same thing.
The script has been flipped.
It's blows my mind. So I guess what we're trying to get here, fellas, is if you're trying to pick up chicks, they're probably not at your local rock and roll show. They're down at your local country show. So that's where you should be heading to pick up chicks. We'll get to our
get a truck, borrow somebody's truck,
and some cowboy boots.
Baby, you a song, you make me want to put my windows down. Right? I could be a country star.
Actually, maybe sooner than later. Maybe sooner than later. We might be listening to Machine Gun Backroads or Machine Gun
cowboy hat on. Dude, I'm in.
All right, we'll figure this out. We'll give it our review next. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio one more time to give a review on our subject this week in Dark Side of the Stream. Save Me. The story of Jelly Roll on Hulu. I give it 3.
Yeah, I would give it a 4 just because of the story. As far as like documentary filmmaking,
it's pretty incredible.
It was just a basic.
Yeah, it's basic story.
It wasn't like a crazy twist or anything like that.
But how could you not tell that story? So I mean, I get it, but it wasn't like.
I'm just that's such a feel good story. Everybody should probably watch it just for inspiration.
Yeah. If you are in a rut, if you feel like you're just hitting the wall, yeah. That's a good way to put it. Because honestly, that really at the end of the day, that's what this documentary should be about, inspiration. You look at this kid that was in prison for 10 years at the age of 14, got out in his mid-20s, and now he's on top of the country music world. So it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what your economic background is, or if you got face tattoos, you too can succeed. And this guy's story is proof that if you stick with it, eventually it'll come around.
Wonderful.
And maybe we're probably examples of that too,
to some extent. We probably have a little bit of that going on too.
Luck, baby.
A little bit of that going on. A
little bit of luck has that involved. So documentary picks for this week. What is it? My turn?
Yeah, did you not come prepared?
We'll see. I barely watched this documentary in time, to be quite honest with you.
I actually woke up and forgot we were supposed to watch the thing. I watched it already. I watched it already.
Okay, this one looks good. The Playing Card Killer. Ooh. I don't know anything about this.
I don't either.
And it sounds like a pretty good documentary.
Card Killer,
3 episodes. It's on Netflix. It just came out. The Playing Card Killer on Netflix.
Perfect.
Back to what we do best, talking about murder on Dark Side of the Stream, which you can always watch live on Facebook 9 a.m. on Thursday mornings, or on YouTube, or listen to it during my show 9 a.m. or during Jay's show at 6 p.m. or as a podcast on our 104.7 The Cave. I'm Mike the Intern, and this is Jay Stevens reminding you we watch movies so you don't have to. Stay hydrated, and this has been Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave.